Most people know Morovis because of a phrase, La Isla, Menos Morovis. Have you heard it? The island except Morovis. And why is this? A nickname born from a 19th century cholera epidemic that somehow never reached this mountain town. But after researching Morovis, I realized something. The most interesting story isn't the cholera story. It's the people, the families who came here, the families who built this community, the families whose names still appear on churches, cemetery, streets, and family trees more than 200 years later. And as it turns out, some of those families are part of my own family story. Today, we're exploring one of Puerto Rico's most fascinating mountain towns. Wepa! Hola everybody, welcome back to another episode of Chronicles and Cocktails. I'm José, the spirited historian, and today we are in Morovis, Puerto Rico. And we're going to talk a little bit about the history of Morovis. We're going to show you around. We're going to show you the streets, the town center, which is actually in renovations, but we're going to drive through. We're going to visit some of the cemeteries, looking for Mariela's line of the Diaz, and we're also looking for Juan Evangelista Rivera, one of the two main founders of Morovis, but nobody knows where he is, so we're gonna check it out. But before we continue, make sure you hit the like button and make sure you check out last Wednesday's episode, because we went to the town of Atillo and we went to the Canary Islands Heritage Festival. So make sure you check it out, give it a like, and subscribe to the channel. Officially founded in 1818 by Don Juan José de Torres of Manatí and Don Juan Evangelista Rivera of Toalta. Two men whose names remain forever connected to the birth of this municipality. But here's what's fascinating. The story of Morovis didn't begin in 1818. Long before there was a town, there were families. Families clearing the land, building homes, raising children, creating communities throughout these mountains. And that's the story we're exploring today. Not simply the history of Morovis, but the people who made Morovis possible, and exploring the town. If you want to understand a Puerto Rican town, start here, the plaza. This one is in renovation, so we can actually visit it. Because for generations, the plazas where life happened. People came to worship, to celebrate, to conduct business, to meet neighbors, to hear news, and to build community. Like countless towns throughout Puerto Rico and the Hispanic world, Morovis developed around three institutions: the church, the plaza, and the local government. Together, they formed the center of civic life. But while these buildings tell part of the story, the real story lies in the people. So I'm at the Plaza Juan José de Torres, who, along with Juan Evangelista Rivera, founded Morovis. And Juan José de Torres, he was the Capitán Poblador. He was the one who led the residents to coordinate the foundation of Morovis. Also, Juan José de Torres was the first constitutional mayor of Morovis back in January 1st, 1822. So, although the Plaza Juan Evangelista Rivera, which is the main plaza we just passed by, is closed for renovations, well, I found this little plaza here that honors Torres. And it's pretty cool that this mosaic right here celebrating or commemorating the 200 years of Morovis. Research based on church records reveal that many of Morovis' earliest families arrived from Manatí, Toalta, Corozal, Arecibo, Vega Baja, Ciales, and other parts of Puerto Rico. Morovis wasn't created by a single group. It was built by many families whose lives became intertwined in these mountains. One of the things genealogy teaches us is that history isn't only about governments and wars. History about people. People who moved. People who married. People who built communities. Now, let's talk about the nickname. La Isla Menos Morovis. The island except Morovis. During the 19th century, cholera devastated much of Puerto Rico, yet Morovis escaped the epidemic. Whether it was geography, isolation, fortune, or faith depends on who tells the story. But the nickname survived and eventually became part of the town's identity. Most towns become famous because of something that happened. Morovis became famous because of something that did not happen. Right now, we are at the cemetery, at the municipal cemetery of Morovis, just searching out some of the family tombs from Mariela's site and also the founders of Morovis. But we encountered a little challenge because there's another cemetery, El Cementerio Viejo, which is not this one, although this one has a lot of old tombs. But apparently, Bernardino Negrón and Juan Evangelista Rivera, which are two of the founders, are buried in the other cemetery. But check this out, right? That's actually pretty cool. Most people see a cemetery and think about death. I see history, I see stories, I see generations. The cemetery is one of the greatest historical archives a community possesses. The names found here often match names found in church records, wills, land transactions, and municipal documents. Names like Rivera, Torres, Negrón, Díaz, Fontanés, Laureano, Rodriguez, and many others. Okay, so we're trying to look for Juan Evangelista's tomb, and it seems like nobody knows. And they're calling everybody here. So the people that work here are really nice, and they're trying to find out where he is, but apparently nobody knows. And I'm guessing that since this is not the actual cemetery, this is not the oldest cemetery, that he may be buried in the church, because back then the important people used to be buried in the parish, in the main parish. But apparently nobody knows that either. So now I think this episode is going to turn into another episode, the search for Juan Evangelista Rivera. And for my wife, we are stopping at this flower and garden shop because we discovered this place in the pandemic, and after that we have come 2 or 3 times after that, and she likes it very much. Good prices and a good variety of plants. So let's go check it out. Leaving town, we head into the mountains, through communities like Perchas, places where generations of Puerto Rican families built lives among the hills and valleys of the interior. This landscape shaped Morovis, and it shaped the people who lived here. This is one of my favorite parts of Puerto Rico: the mountains, the scenery, the history, and the stories hidden around every curve in the road. And that's how we arrived to Casa Bavaria. Check out that view. I mean, seriously. This view is incredible. We are in Barrio Perchas, and this is Casa Bavaria. It's a German restaurant up in the mountains of Puerto Rico. A German restaurant up in the mountains of Puerto Rico. We've been here 1 or 2 times before, and of course, we wanted to come here to have some lunch. Our lunch stop may be the most unexpected. A German restaurant in the mountains of Puerto Rico, imagine that. But Casa Bavaria is much more than just a restaurant. It's another story about family, about migration, and about finding a home. Mike Boley grew up in Germany, knowing very little about his Puerto Rican father. After traveling to Puerto Rico and discovering both his father and the island, he eventually returned with his wife Martina to build a new life here. What began as a dream became one of Puerto Rico's most beloved mountain destinations. Honestly, if somebody told me there was a Bavarian-style restaurant hidden in the mountains of Morovis, I probably wouldn't have believed them. And yet, here we are. So we just had a good lunch at Casa Bavaria, and now we're just exploring Barrio Perchas. We're actually in the mountains, like in the Cordillera Central. And this is one of the lookouts in Morovis, right in Barrio Perchas. And that's the flag of Morovis right there. Now let's walk a little bit so you can see the actual mountains. And I know I showed you the mountains back in Casa Bavaria, but this is another perspective. Check it out. Huh? All that is the Cordillera Central. But here's where history becomes personal. My wife, Mariela, descends from Don Juan Evangelista Rivera, one of the founders of Morovis, the one who actually donated the land so the town can be built. And she is also a descendant from Bernardino Negrón, another important early settler whose family became part of the story of this community. So, standing here today, we're not only exploring local history, we're standing in a place connected to Mariela's own family story. And yes, we know there are a lot more barrios in Morovis. We focused on Perchas because that's the barrio where Mariela's grandmother grew up. So next time we'll explore more of Morovis. The flag of Morovis is divided vertically into two equal sections. The left half, closest to the flagpole, is yellow and features a black eagle, while the right half consists of 7 alternating vertical stripes, 4 red, 3 yellow. The yellow section closest to the mast displays the black eagle from the Morovis coat of arms. In a unique design choice, the eagle's head is turned to face the flagpole. The other half features 7 vertical stripes. They consist of 4 red stripes alternating with 3 yellow stripes, like I mentioned before. The eagle symbolizes St. John the Evangelist, singing in honor of the town's founder Don Juan Evangelista Rivera. The colors? Well, the dominant yellow and red are often associated with traditional Spanish heritage. So, this is a representation of the founders and the Spanish heritage of Morovis. Usually this is where I make a cocktail, but I decided not to, because we had German beer at the restaurant at Casa Bavaria. And I guess that when you go into a certain story, to a certain area, you have to taste whatever they're offering. And cocktail today? Again, it's not a cocktail, it's yet another beer. But German beers, I had a lager and my wife had a stout. And if you want to taste it, there's no recipe. You'll have to go to Morovis. And let me tell you, I'm not being sponsored by any of these restaurants or places in Morovis. Until now, I'm telling you my favorites. If someday there is a sponsor, I'll let you know. But for right now, enjoy the German beer. With a view, I should say. Today we discovered that Morovis is much more than a nickname. It's much more than a town founded in 1818. Morovis is a story about families. Families who arrived from across Puerto Rico. Families who built homes, churches, businesses, and communities. Families whose names still survive in records, cemeteries, and family trees. And sometimes, those family stories become personal. Today, we walked through the history of Morovis, in Morovis. But for my wife, we also walked through part of her own heritage. And that's one of the things I love most about history. The more we learn about the past, the more we learn about ourselves. I'm José, the Spirited Historian. Thank you for joining me for another journey through history, culture, food, and drink. And I'll see you next Wednesday. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments. As always, are you from Morovis? Have you ever visited Morovis? And tell me, I know we didn't go all over Morovis because well, there were things there were roads blocked and construction going on, renovations here and there, which means the town is alive, right? And people are wanting a little bit of refreshment into the feel of the town. We will go back to Morovis. We will show you the apparently new plaza when it's done. So thank you for watching. Have a great Sunday. Have fun. Discover Puerto Rico. Have a great Sunday. Have fun. Learn a lot. Read a lot of books. And go to church. And with the beer we had at Casa Bavaria.
Hello.